All right, so in this video, I'm going to cover some of the fundamentals of punching power, putting your combinations together, body mechanics, and hand speed. And really, there are a couple things that are very important to know, and that is your intent with power, your intent with hand speed, and your transitions. Now, I have to say that one of my customers had reminded me of this, and that's why I really appreciate your guys' comments and feedback, because I learn about myself that way and rediscover things and look at things in a different way. Your comments drive the content. So with that said, make sure you subscribe, throw a jab at the subscribe button, throw a right hand or a lead hook, hit that subscribe button, because I really want to hear from you and I want you guys to have access to all this information. One thing that's very important to know, there is a big relationship between your intent with power, how much you commit to a shot, and hand speed. And the best way I can demonstrate this is if I get you to hold a baseball bat and I ask you to lightly flick it back and forth quickly, just lightly back and forth like this, you'll have no problem. But if I tell you that I want you to swing that bat as hard and as fast as you can, and then I want you to swing it back as hard and as fast as you can, you're not going to be able to match the rhythm, back and forth rhythm, pace of the quick toggles. It's just basic biomechanics, basic laws of physics. That means that in general, you want your most powerful punch to be the last punch in your combo. Why is that? Why would I not throw a powerful punch and another powerful punch? Is because if you throw a powerful committed shot, there is more time gap between that punch and your next punch. And in that time, if your opponent blocks or slips, they have more time to counter you. There are many scenarios, because if you throw a light punch that doesn't have any impact, your opponent can walk through it. Or it may not affect your opponent, they can just throw while you're throwing. So there is the factor of your punches having enough effectiveness, effective punching. But if you're gonna really let that shot go, let it fire, you wanna save that for your last punch. Because if you let it go hard and you miss, or the opponent blocks it, as you're trying to come back with that next punch, there's a lot of time there, a lot of time to get countered and get caught. If your opponent starts to see you doing that, it's called, in boxing we call it loading up. If your opponent starts to see you loading up and they're good at timing you, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So with hand speed, you're gonna let that last punch be the hardest one in your combo. And then you could throw, move, and then it could be in each section. So as long as you have a gap there between punches, you could throw 1, 2, 3 hard, move, 1, 2, right? It doesn't have to be in the entire sequence, but just in your punching sequences. Another thing that relates to that is how much you thrust the hip into your shots versus hands. So if I step back here, most of the time we know, especially on the lead hook, if I'm gonna put my hip into that shot, it's gonna send my body momentum, the kinetic chain coiling up with power. It's gonna be easy to come through with a powerful lead hook. The problem is, if I go here and I really commit that hip, that's a lot of time and energy I gotta take to go back to throw the right hand. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, except that that's that time between that you can be countered. So you have to be mindful of it. If I'm gonna go here, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, I'm gonna save that for the end. If I go here, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, and I start torquing my hips with power, it takes so much juice and energy, and it's hard to keep your balance as well, continuing with that power while thrusting the hips through back and forth. So what you want to do is be mindful of when you thrust your hip into that shot and the intent on your punch. If I'm going here, letting my hands go, that's fine. The minute I go, boom, and put my hip into the shot, that's gonna be my most powerful punch. It's also gonna cost me more time to come back. So in your boxing combinations, in your sequences, ideally save that juice for the last punch. The last punch is also usually your setup punch. Whatever you're doing, you've seen a flaw in your opponent's boxing, or you really want to commit to something, you have an idea of what you really want to land, and then you commit and you save that hip and the full thrust for that final shot. Again, doesn't mean it's the end of the entire attack sequence, because here you can thrust, duck, boom, and then thrust again. Use your head movement, your angles, and your footwork buys you refresh time, so that you can go again with juice and with power. This is something to be mindful of. Power intent, hand speed intent. use of your energy, boxing efficiency, setups, how you commit yourself through your body. All right, so I hope those concepts make sense with power, intent, hand speed, commitment of the lower body, and timing of your power. And again, hit the subscribe button, leave your comments below. I really appreciate all the support. Thanks for watching. Peace.